So Deepu here from Archius. So this is the agenda for today. So first we will looking at an overview of ChartsPLUS, and then we'll do some demo dashboards based on which were created based on ChartsPLUS, and then we'll be looking at the ChartsPLUS Designer UI, and then I'll hand it over to Rajan, who will be talking about how Palo Alto Networks is using Design Studio and why they decided to go with ChartsPLUS for their Design Studio implementation. So ChartsPLUS is an add-on or an extension for Design Studio, which enhances the visualization capabilities of Design Studio. So we provide around 40 different chart types and then around 500 different properties for the chart, which you can use to customize the chart for creating great visualizations. So it is based on the standard Design Studio SDK, so it tightly integrates with your existing Design Studio environment, so you don't need to worry about setting up another environment for using this extension. It's tightly integrated into the Design Studio SDK framework. So these are some of the key capabilities of ChartsPLUS. So it's just not the number of charts which makes it unique. We also provide these 500 properties depending on the type of the chart you choose, so which makes it more flexible in terms of what you can do with these charts. In most cases, we see customers using standard charts like a column chart, pie chart, line chart. But in certain cases, you run into limitations within the standard SAP chart. So that's where you'll be able to use our component ChartsPLUS even with standard charts like column chart or pie chart, which is already available in the standard SAP package. So these are some of the key properties. So we have great control over the chart properties. We provide enhanced conditional formatting options, provide support for hierarchy. So in case you are using a BW or HANA based hierarchy in your Design Studio application, our charts fully supports the hierarchy. So you can select the level which you want to display from the hierarchy. You can do a hierarchy based drill down without using any code. So during our demo, we'll be going through how you can do some of these key features mentioned here in this list. And all our charts are mobile compatible also. So when you design this dashboard, this will work fine on a mobile device, which is supported by SAP Design Studio. So in addition to the properties, these are some of the charts which we offer, and this is not the full list. There's much more, but these are a few of them which we offer in addition to what's available in Design Studio. So a lot of our customers use scroll charts, bullet charts, gauges, bubble charts with quadrants, funnel charts. So these are some of the common charts which are used by our customers. So here I just want to talk about like why ChartsPLUS and what's the reason for you to consider ChartsPLUS. So we, like I mentioned, we provide some more chart types and some key features. But in addition to that, you can also use ChartsPLUS to accelerate dashboard delivery. So what I mean by that is when you are looking at Design Studio, sometimes when you run into limitations, you have to create custom charts using SDK components, which could be time consuming. So when you're using our charts here, you can start development initially without having to spend much time on doing custom SDK development. You can also reduce that amount of time you spend for CSS-based formatting. So you don't need to know CSS as a BI developer. Most developers won't know CSS. So CSS is a cascading style sheet which is used for formatting charts in Design Studio. But when you use our extension, you don't need to know CSS. You can use a user-friendly UI for doing all those customizations. So we provide pre-configured palettes, themes. So during our demo, we'll be looking at how those can be configured to meet your own requirements, and then how you can reuse them across your enterprise. It's a highly customizable visualization framework. So we have a very robust charting engine which allows you to create very flexible visualization. ChartsPLUS also increased user adoption. Rajan will share some of his thoughts, like how ChartsPLUS was able to increase user adoption for some of their dashboards. So when you are working with Design Studio dashboards, you can make these more user friendly in terms of like simple things like show height series, zooming into charts. So we provide a lot of those things which makes it really user friendly. And all our charts are downloadable as images, PDF files also, so that you can reuse them in like other presentations and stuff. So we started with ChartsPLUS initially after SAP released the Design Studio SDK back at the end of 2013. We released our initial ChartsPLUS 1.0 release was back in Q2 of 2014, which covered most of these items mentioned in here. So initially the plan was to look at how to fill some of the gaps when you compare Design Studio charts to Excel CS or Dashboard Designer. So then we released our ChartsPLUS 2.0 version back in Q2 of 2015. So here we've enhanced it further. So we got feedback from customers like Palo Alto Networks and some other customers based on our 1.0 release, and then we enhanced it further. So now we have around 500 different properties, more than 1,000 script APIs available for ChartsPLUS. So you don't need to use scripting during design time. The scripting is only required if you want to do further customizations at runtime. So if you want to make it more flexible for the users, you definitely have that option. So that does not mean you are relying on scripting within the design time. So the designer UI does not require any scripting. So these are some of the charts which we introduced here. We have multi-axis charts and gauges and bullet charts with multiple series, zoom charts, export options, hierarchy support, advanced conditional formatting. So even though the Design Studio charts support conditional formatting, there are some limitations. So our charts provide more options for conditional formatting. And this is a roadmap for 2.1, which we are planning to release actually in Q4 time frame. So we'll be looking at more charts, probably looking at coming up with the ChartsPLUS for Lumira. It is also based on the platform deployment of Lumira extensions. So what I'll do is I'll go to a demo of ChartsPLUS now. Like I said, from a SDK standpoint, it's tightly integrated into the into Design Studio and the Business Objects platform. So this is a dashboard which we have created using ChartsPLUS. So ChartsPLUS works with custom components and also with standard SAP components. So in this case, all these charts which we are using here is based on ChartsPLUS, whereas this component here is a standard SAP GeoMap component, and this one here is a standard SAP CrossTab component. So it works very well with other components. So for instance, I can use this map to filter on the data which is coming into ChartsPLUS. So I can click on the country here, and all the charts would filter based on whatever value we are passing from this map onto the chart. So here I have a very simple chart. So here we have a bar chart, but what is unique here is so we have a way to, this is a combination of bar and a step chart, or this can also be converted to a bullet chart if required. So here this will show your actual, and then this will show your plan here. And this chart here is showing the variance. And you can apply conditional formatting here. So in this case, all the negative numbers are highlighted in red. And I can click on, so I look at this particular product here. And if I want to see how this is performing over time, I can click on this, and this chart here is filtered. The trend chart here is filtered for that specific product. And then this chart is a zoom chart, so I can go in and select a specific area within the chart and then zoom into that particular timeline. So initially we display data for 5 years in the small chart, but if I want to zoom into specific areas, I can definitely just click on this and then select an area and zoom into that section. And if you want to go back, clicking on here, it would go back. One other feature we offer here is the ability to show and hide a series dynamically without having to write any code. So you can click on any of these series here, so it will hide it from the chart. So let's say I want to bring in variance, or I want to bring in a variance percentage, and then just actual. So you can provide the ability to users to have them do this dynamically during a runtime. Like I've mentioned before, we also support hierarchy. So in this case, you can see here on the right-hand side, we have an income statement hierarchy. So when we visualize this, we only want these level 2 items to be plotted on the chart. So when you use standard Design Studio chart, it would start plotting the top level and along with these levels, which kind of views of the chart, how the chart looks. So here, we can select what level you want to display, and also without writing any code, we can drill down on this hierarchy. So let's say I want to go in and look at cost of sale. So I can click on this. It will go to the next level within the hierarchy, and you can see how the cross tab also takes that next level within there. So I can go down to the most detailed level here, or you can just go into and drill up also. So once you're here, and if you want to drill up, you can do that also. And execute another dashboard here. So this here is a sales performance dashboard. So here on the top we have four different KPI tiles. So, and within these KPI tiles, we are leveraging bullet charts here. So the bullet chart supports multiple series and also multiple markers. So in this case, we have actual here, and then we have the prior year actual, and this here is a plan. So you can have multiple markers, and if you have a forecast value, you can do that also. And again, all of this. So if you don't want to overcrowd your chart initially with a lot of data points, you have the ability to go in and show and hide each of the series on need basis. So the users have the flexibility to go in and select which series should be displayed on each of these charts. And here, in this chart, if you look, we have something called guides. So what this allows you to do is provide a reference point for your data. So here we are looking at the sales growth for rolling 12 months. And if you want to provide a guide which shows the corporate average and state average, so these can be coming in from, these can be static values, or this could be coming in from a different data source, not from the main data source which is used for deriving the chart. So you can add these reference points which make the chart more meaningful. So when you're looking at the data, rather than saying, okay, yeah, the growth is 10%, so we can look at it and say, okay, the growth is 10%, but the corporate average is at 9%, or if you look at this point here, yeah, so we need to be doing better in terms of state and corporate average. So all the different properties, the plot area, the axis, the lines, all of them are highly customizable. So you can see, like, you can have dotted lines, and the size of the line itself can be customized. So I want to jump into, so I can drill down on this to the next level. So here I have another dashboard which is profitability analysis. So one thing we can do here is, so we have this bullet chart. So these are all the different sales numbers. So we have sales, margin, and margin percentage. And then here we have all the cost drivers. So the margin is based on the cost, right? So I can do some what if scenario here. So I can change my cost of goods sales and see how that's affecting my gross margin. So if I increase my, or if I change my cost of goods sold, you can see immediately how my gross margin is getting affected. So it makes it really flexible and for doing some of this what-if analysis. So in this case, we are using a slider component along with some variables on the HANA side to make this happen. So you can do similar things with BW-based queries also. So in this chart also, by the initial view, I only have two measures. It's not too much crowded, but if I want to look at the look at some of these other measures, I can just go in and add those into the chart. So let me look at this one here. So this is another example. Again, we have bullet charts. We have a Spark line charts available here. So those can be integrated into a KPI tile if required. And we support Spark lines or micro charts with columns or bars also. And here also we have a guide. So we have the plan for the OPEX categories. And when you look at a chart like this, sometimes you have a category like salaries and wages, which is like really high. But if you want to just get a better idea about some of these other numbers, you can just click on this, which will remove that from the chart. And it will also adjust the scale accordingly. So when you remove a particular item, it will adjust the scale accordingly. So you don't have you have more real estate for displaying some of the other components. Okay, so yeah, one more dashboard I want to demo, and then we will get into the design time of ChartsPLUS. So here we have a total AR percentage by customer. So by default it displays 5 customers here, but I can use a slider here to determine how many you can do, like a top 10, top bottom, and can do those kind of scenarios here based on a slider. Or if you want to swap dimensions, you can do that also. So it's highly integrated with the BI action language scripting available in Design Studio. Okay, so I'll go into the design time here. So once you install ChartsPLUS, it will automatically appear here in the component section. So it will come in as an Archius component under the component section here in Design Studio. The installation process is pretty straightforward. It takes a couple of minutes to do the installation depending on your PC speed. So here I have ChartsPLUS available in here. Let me just drag and drop that into the canvas. So once I have it, it will come up with some dummy data. So in this case, I have a data source coming in from BW, which has hierarchy enabled. So this is a country. It's a pretty simple data source, but it has a hierarchy enabled in it. So I want to visualize this hierarchy, so I just drag and drop the data source on top of the chart. So once I have enabled or assigned the data source, I can come in and select the hierarchy and then enable these options so that I can filter on this particular chart and drill down. So you saw like it took only me like probably 30 seconds to assign this data source and then enable filtering. So when I click on West here, it will drill down to the next node within the hierarchy. So depending on how deep your hierarchy is, you can configure that drill down. It will automatically take into account your hierarchy and then enable the drill down based on that. So no coding is required for that, for drilling down based on the hierarchy. Everything is provided out of the box, so you don't have to spend much time trying to figure out the script required for that. One other option we provide with ChartsPLUS here, also the ability to select which dimension you want to display. So in certain cases, you want to reduce the number of dimensions coming in used in your Design Studio application. So in this case, we have 2 dimensions, department and product. So by default, Design Studio charts and Archius charts would plot both of them. Here I can go in and select which dimension I want to plot, whether I want to plot department or should I be plotting product. So in this case, if you want to have 2 different charts using one data source, we can select which dimension you should be using from that particular data source. So it makes it a little bit more flexible in terms of what you'll be able to select within the chart. I'll go ahead and add another chart. I just want to show you how flexible the advanced property sheet of this chart is. We have another data source available here. So I have 5 different measures in here, and when I assign this this data source to the chart, I have some sales numbers, some cost numbers, and then also gross margin, which does not make sense to plot along with the gross sales in the same axis. So we have the option here for a wizard for creating combination charts. So I will create a combination chart here. We want to have gross sales as a column, but I want all these 3 measures, all the cost measures, discount, storage cost, and transportation cost as stacked. And I want gross margin as a line on a different axis though, so I can select which axis. So in the wizard you can select which axis it would go into. So in this case it will go into a secondary axis, and when I hit on apply, it will automatically generate the chart here for you. Then I'm looking at the chart, there is still the axis does not look right. So you can go into the config and you can customize the axis formatting. So I can say, let's say I want to display only the first 10 characters of the label, and also rotate the label by 45 degrees here. Okay, so I can specify the angle which I can use for rotating the label. So if we want like 90 degrees or a different number, you're not limited to just one setting for rotating. You can mention like what angle should be used for rotating it. You can also mention the label frequency. So if you want to skip like a couple of labels, you can just mention that so that your chart does not get crowded. So it's highly flexible in terms of what can be done with axis formatting. So you can format both axes. You can format the category axis here and also the value axis similar to this. So there are a lot of properties available. So in this advanced property sheet, you can also hover over on any of these, and it will show you input help right here for what that property is. And you can also see there's a setter and getter option here. So this basically shows you what property can be used within BI action language for setting this property during runtime. So we have a setter which is used for setting that particular property in BI action language, and getter which is used for reading that property during runtime. So if you want to customize any of this, you can go into the graph section here, and then these individual measures can be customized. So I can select this particular measure here, and then I can customize this. So if I want to change it to a different chart type, or if I want to change the label, the value label text, all of that can be customized here in this section. And we can also add interactivity, so we can enable like mouse-based zooming, and you can also enable scroll bar for the chart. So if you have a lot of data points, you can add a scroll bar to the chart. So a scroll bar would appear here on the top, and then you can also determine how many objects you want to display initially in the chart. So I can come in here and say this one 10 objects to be displayed. So the chart would add a scroll bar to it, and then you'll be able to zoom during runtime for this chart. So this all of this can be done here in the property sheet itself. So let me just go ahead and execute this chart. And if I want to zoom into a specific section, I can zoom in now that I have enabled the zoom property for the chart. So we do provide certain predefined palettes. One more thing before we go into the palette. So we have custom axis scaling or number prefixes. So if you see here, these are pretty big numbers, and without having to do scaling in the back end, we can add a scaling option here. So when we do this, it will automatically change that into millions. So you're not limited to these options here for scaling. You can bring in your own custom scales also. So if you're just not looking at dollar amounts, and if you're looking at quantity and stuff, you can bring in your custom scaling option also in here. So you don't have to do a bunch of stuff on the back end for getting the scaling. It can be done here at the chart level. So we provide certain palettes out of the box. So we do have this Fiori palette. So this theme here I'm using is based on Fiori, and there are different Fiori palettes available in here. Or if you want to bring in your own palette, you can do that. So you can just add more options in here. And if you want to save this, we provide the option to save this. So this palette gets saved, and next time you go into a different chart, you can use that particular palette, or you can just go in and load that palette, and you use that within that particular chart. So you can this makes it a little bit easier for you to reuse the palettes within your application. We also provide the ability to share these properties with other developers. So if you want to have the ability to share this with some other developers, you can use that using this save option. So we provide the ability to export these properties with other developers. So now if I go into this here. So here, this is the palette I just created. So I can just come in here and say load palette, and it will immediately apply that to the other chart. So you can maintain one palette for your company, and then you can reuse it across. I also want to show how flexible these charts are at runtime. So here, this uses a color picker. This is just an example to show the flexibility of these charts. So here I have a color picker, and then you can pick a color here, and you can see how the chart here changes accordingly at runtime. So you're not limited with these options at design time. So everything available at design time, you can also do it at runtime using, if you want to do using the action language scripting. I want to make it clear again, if you're just doing it at design time, you don't need scripting. This is only for runtime. So for instance, if I want to change the thickness of the line, I can use a slider which can be used for changing the thickness of the line. Or if I want to set a guide for the chart, so I can set a custom guide or reference point within the chart. So you could be reading, providing the user to do that, or you can be reading it from a different data source, or it could be based on a different chart. So it's pretty flexible on what you can do at runtime. So even like titles, right? So I can change the title for the chart. So I can, and all this is based on scripting if you want to do it at runtime. So here we have a toolbar here. So I have the option to toggle legend. So when I do that, the legend disappears. Or if I want to rotate the label, we can do that. Or if I want to enable number prefixes, so this could change at runtime. And the same option is just not available for the color palette. You can use it for other properties also. Like for instance, if you want to save the category access or any graph properties, you can use the save option for saving it for other properties also. So any area within the chart can be customized and then saved, so that you can reuse that within your application later on. So we do provide conditional formatting also. So we have extensive options available for conditional formatting.
So we started at Palo Alto Networks using Design Studio early on, which is like back in 2014, early 2014 with version 1.2. So we had a project to bring in all the dashboard under one umbrella, which was our business objects platform. So we started looking into the options, and obviously the couple options were Dashboard Designer or the Design Studio. Even though, I knew our Design Studio was in early phases, but we wanted to still go with the Design Studio and give it a shot and see what we can do with it. So we started exploring more on the Design Studio and found, all this connectivity options, which is really awesome with BW and HANA. And we started using that, and we have done successfully a few dashboards so far, based primarily data source based on HANA and BW queries. So another reason we adopted the Design Studio was, just to stay in a line with SAP's roadmap, since SAP was investing heavily on the Design Studio and not on Dashboard Designer anymore. So that was one of the reason. So as soon as we started using Design Studio, the very first thing came across was, it has a lot of missing things in it. It's a great platform to start your dashboard project. It's very flexible, but all of a sudden you hit the wall and see you can't do much with out-of-the-box components. So we started trying to do our own SDK. We invested about a couple months just to develop a gauge, since I was not a core developer or SDK developer. So with the help of some friends, we tried to build some gauge, and we were able to achieve some simple gauge. But then again, if we have to customize it a little bit, we have to go back to the code again and start making changes, deploy it, and it was a long process with not very fruitful results at the end of the day. So then we started looking into let's see what we can find in the market, if there is anything for the SDK components, and then we found Archius and worked with the Deepu with the 1.0 version they had for the ChartsPLUS, and all of a sudden we had all these great charts extensions available within the Design Studio. So that's the story how we started using this SDK components, and it like Deepu just showed, it is really flexible. You can do what you want to do with those charts, and it really helped us to speed up our dashboard projects, and also helped us drive more user adoption, because after deploy, they look stunning on the dashboards, all the charts with all the custom additions and colors and everything. So it was really helpful from these guys to bring in the ChartsPLUS extension to the Design Studio. Not only they provided the ChartsPLUS, but they also provided the expertise of BW and end-to-end scenario. They helped us design the backend that will work within the dashboard. Also, they helped us do all this UI and UX component theme and everything. So I'm going to show you a few screenshots later today in the presentation. But overall, they brought in a lot of value for us within the company for the dashboarding projects. Let's go. So as you can see, some of the features that we were using for the Design Studio for the ChartsPLUS. So hierarchy was one of them. So we created some finance dashboard where they had like cost center hierarchy and other hierarchy, profitability hierarchy, and a bunch of other hierarchies that we wanted to use. So that's completely not possible with the standard component. So we were able to use out of the box whatever we had in BW. We were able to use BW hierarchy, and we're able to use hierarchy drill down on the charts. Also, you can do hierarchy, you can create your own hierarchy based on the dimensions. So like if I have a quarter and then I have a month as a separate column, we were also able to do drill down based on quarter to the month level drill down within the charts. And it also provided like finer detail or control over the dashboard with all this customization that Deepu just showed. Access formatting, label formatting, color palettes, and so it has very granular control. And to be honest, I still don't know how. There are so many things I can still do, and I just learned a few more things today while Deepu was showing. So really, it provides so much control over your dashboard layout. Since the dashboard that we might be creating will be for executive or managers and high-level stakeholders. So I mean, to provide a highly feature-rich and beautiful dashboard, that's what it helped us to get there. Also, a lot of time there, users want to have a screenshot or download that chart and put it in the presentation. That is also available, and even you can do the annotation even on the any of the chart within the browser or iPad as well. So this was the very first project we did like more than a year ago with the first release of the ChartsPLUS. So the project was to bring existing dashboard from other application to the Design Studio, and then the very first requirement, like I mentioned, was the gauge. We need to have some gauges done. So as you can see, it came out to be a really beautiful dashboard with all the customization, not only using the ChartsPLUS components, but overall, if you can see they have helped us design the whole dashboard, like theme, colors, and all the tabbing within the dashboard. You can see there are multiple tabs. And I mean, this was the first and the most complex, I would say, we have worked so far. So we have used many components like other components like bullet chart, zoom line, like runtime scripting, and it came out to be much more interactive at the end of the day. So this was the first one that we developed. So another one was pretty straightforward. You can see it was an executive dashboard with all the major KPIs. We had some tiles, then bullet chart which showed the actual value, then plan value and forecast value, and really executive loves those bullet charts. And then you can also see the bar charts or the column charts with stacking. So you can have we have done the customization of the colors as well, breakdown by theater. So you can see how beautiful it looks. Also, simple bar charts towards the right, which shows like top 10 customers and all that kind of information. So the really point I'm trying to say is, with using the SDK components like ChartsPLUS, we were able to quickly turn the dashboards once we have the backend ready, without investing a lot of time in SDK. And another one was, this was the one which we used that hierarchy most. So we had a lot of cost centers which we wanted to drill down. So using this drill down feature, user can drill down to any level and then they can select and it will filter the other charts. So I mean, it provided a lot of flexibility in terms of leveraging the existing queries and backend that we had in BW, and just kind of create this dashboards for the executives again. Also, like I mentioned, we can export all this once you drill down to a certain level and you want to take a screenshot of that chart, you can do that. Also, you can hide some of the bars like Deepu showed before using the labels. I mean, it has a lot of flexibility again, and again, they have helped us design the whole dashboard from UI and UX perspective as well.
So I think, Rajan, there's a question for you about performance issues you had encountered and how they were addressed.
Okay, yeah, we did hit into the performance issue, and most of the time we found it was because of the long-running back query or the back-end view that we were using or the BW side. So, I mean, I haven't seen any performance issues in terms of like loading the dashboard with the small amount of data. Obviously, if you have a large amount of data, it might take some time, but you can always put some of the data in background queries in the background processing. Depends on how you load the dashboard. If it's the first screen of the dashboard, then obviously you want to run it or fire the queries when the dashboard loads. But if the queries are for the second tab or other tabs, you can run it in the background processing, so it can load later once the first tab is loaded. So yes, there you could hit the performance issues, and most of the time, like I said, it's mostly backend issues.
And just to add to that, so this support KPI dashboard which we see here, we had around 30 different data sources going into this one dashboard, and we were able to get a load time of less than 10 seconds. And this was even with 1.3, where we did not have parallel processing. So with 1.5, there are a lot of options available for enhancing performance, doing parallel processing in the background. So that's something that you can look at. So there's another question about Design Studio can be used only with HANA. No, Design Studio can be used with SAP BW, HANA, and also Design Studio can work with universals. Design Studio can consume HANA calculated views directly. Yes, Design Studio can directly connect to HANA calculated views. So when you connect to HANA from Design Studio, you can use an OLAP connection created on the BI platform, which would allow you to consume the calculated views directly. Question about, can you change the name of the variables inside DS? Not sure what are you referring to, changing the name of the variable or assigning a variable value at runtime. If it is assigning a value at runtime, yes, definitely it can be done at runtime. So you can use the BI action language script, which can be used for assigning variable values. If you are referring to changing the measure name within the chart, we can do it here. So if it comes as a gross sales from the data source, and if you want to change this to just sales, you can definitely change that, and that would affect the chart legend immediately. That's what you're referring to in terms of variable. Can Design Studio consume the data of the WebView report? No, Design Studio cannot consume the data from a WebView report. It can consume data from a universe, but not from a WebView report directly. Can we schedule a Design Studio report? Scheduling is not available in the current release. That's definitely in the roadmap. You can refer to the SAP roadmap slides for Design Studio to see when that will be available. Can you still use scripts with your version of Charts? Yes. So all the different properties which I was showing here are this user scripting. So let me just show it. So like I said, we have around actually more than 1,000 properties for the charts, which can be used in script. So when I click on, or when you go to script editor, just like the SAP chart components, we have the option to go in and select a particular API. And then, yeah, it provides input help here. And we do support complex properties for charts, so you can use setters and getters for setting any of these fields during a runtime. So the example which I was showing before here, this use of scripting basically to do all this at a runtime. Does ChartsPLUS have any plans to have an interface with BI reports? The interface with BI reports is going to be at whenever Design Studio supports that. Then ChartsPLUS will be able to do that. At the ChartsPLUS level, we are not planning to offer that interface. I think that is available in SAP's roadmap for consuming BI documents. So whenever that is available, we'll be able to support that. Yeah, the only option available in terms of interface with BI report is using OpenDoc. You can call a BI report, so you can click on a chart passing parameters to the next level. You can call a BI report, but not directly getting the BI report data into a chart. How often is ChartsPLUS 2.0 supported? Do updates happen in sequence with service pack or patches? So yeah, we do try to provide an update whenever there's a new version of Design Studio coming up. So in order to align with SAP's release schedules and making sure ChartsPLUS works with the new version of Design Studio. So SAP provides Design Studio releases every 6 months, so we do provide releases at the same interval also. Is there a cross-tab or a tabular component? No, we don't provide a cross-tab. The cross-tab which we were using here, this is a standard SAP component which we are using here. Same thing for the hierarchy also. So this is a standard SAP component which we are using here, which would work with which can be integrated with our components also, like passing values and stuff. So when I filter on our component here, the SAP cross-tab also gets filtered. And that's, I think, the one last question here is about can we have the on-click event on a stack bar chart where we click on a stack and pass multiple filter values to the data source? Yes, you can. You can click on anywhere within the stack, and then you can capture that, and then you can pass it on as a filter to the data source.